Scaling is often described as a technical challenge. Better systems, more processes, more tools. But most companies don't break because of technology. They break because of people. Because hiring the grown person is expensive. But hiring the grown people at scale can quietly destroy an entire organization. Today's episode is about the hardest part of scaling, not code, not architecture, hiring. This is a scaling dilemma, the hardest part of scaling, hiring. So we have a special guest today, Mariano. Mariano is SVP of engineering and one of the people who knows exactly what it means to grow a large engineering team. Mariano, for the audience, can you start? Well, first of all, welcome and thank you for being here, right?
Thank you for inviting me, Darwin. This is probably the second or maybe even third podcast I have
Yeah.
recorded in English. So
In English? Oh my
nice.
God. So yeah, it's we're this is kind of a breakthrough, right? Kind of
It
new
is.
thing.
It is a little bit.
Cool, cool, cool. But I hope you are not like nervous or something. No, right?
I'm just nervous for you. No,
For my overwhelming personality, right?
exactly.
Mariano, for the audience, can you start by sharing what do you do and what your current role is, please?
Sure, Darwin. Well, my role is senior vice president of engineering at MedTrainer.
Mhm.
We are a healthcare tech startup, US based.
Okay.
But I've been working here in this startup for over 11 years. I have seen it grow from nothing, when it was just me,
Okay.
until right now we are almost 400 employees. The engineering
Four.
team that I lead has around
Oh,
100 engineers.
okay.
So it's been a wild ride. And as senior vice president, I oversee all of our engineering efforts. I report to the exec team
Yeah.
directly, part of that too.
Okay.
And I have around 4 or 5 direct reports right now who
Oh,
will help me to run the entire team. I cannot do this by myself.
that's impressive. That's impressive. And
I also have a podcast and I love to make
yes,
drama on Twitter. So, you may
share it.
have
Share.
seen me from that.
I mean, I know the podcast. I've seen you from Twitter and whatever, right? We can say that we are kind of like web friends or something. Is that a term? I don't know. Is that a thing, right? But we've been around here like
Exactly.
for 4 years now, probably five, right? Since the pandemic or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I started the podcast during the pandemic and
Yeah.
it's been a while of many episodes and amazing people like you. So it's nice being here with you, Darwin.
Thank you. Thank you. It's really nice to have you here. Before hiring becomes a strategy, it starts as a task. Fill a role, move fast, keep up with growth. But at some point, something changes. Hiring stops being an operational and becomes existential. That moment is where our story begins. So let's go into our first question. How about that? So the question is this: when did you first realize that hiring wasn't just filling roles, but a real scaling problem inside engineering?
So the way that how I see hiring is it's a numbers game, right? You
Okay.
need X amount of resumes instead of or CVs, however we want to call them, in order them to fill X amount of positions that you have. So first of all, you have to think about it as a numbers game that you need a lot of resumes to fill some positions, and then one of the other things that I think it's important to mention about hiring is to hire good people, you need a good team that they want to be part of. Like
Okay.
good people just doesn't join bad places. They know when there is bad people. They can sense. Also are interviewing you in the process, so they like while you are looking for red flags, they are also looking for red flags. So you need
Cool.
a good team, a good company, a good culture where they want to join.
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't think there is like an issue, especially in hiring. I think good people attract good people, and when you have a good culture, and if the good culture, it's a good foundation for hiring. So I don't think it's about filling roles; it's about hiring people that you want to work with. That's kind of like the basic mindset when people is interviewing. What I say is, you need to be hiring or interviewing people that you will be liking to work with on daily basis. If you don't like to work with this person, just ditch it on the process. It doesn't matter of how many years of experience he or she has.
Okay.
It's important to have people that you want to work with and that you can learn from.
How do you spread the word about the good environment and the good culture that you have? Like, is it word of mouth, or is it do you have a marketing thing campaign that is going on, or how do you do this?
Well, I honestly don't have any of that.
Uh-huh.
I have built my own network. I think people that has worked with me or that know me have helped me a lot of in hiring as well. We don't
Yeah.
have a marketing team, but also when we are hiring, now with the big team that we have, it's easier to get recommendations.
Okay.
So people that is working with us will recommend the job positions to people that they know, and we really value recommendations. And that usually attracts really good talent.
Yeah.
So it's just like a matter of connection. We have played many playbooks, and we have made up some of them our own. But
Yeah.
we have good collaboration with universities too. When we have hired
Okay.
um, interns, we have we have been working with universities. If they want to come visit our offices, we allow them to come. If they want me to go give a talk to a university, I will do that. We will be organizing many events for them, all for free.
Yeah.
It just builds the brand that you
Hmm.
have. And I have hired people. I just hired someone probably two 2 years ago. No, sorry, 2 months ago.
Uh-huh.
That she came to the office like 4 years ago for
Uh-huh.
an event that we hosted when she was still studying at the university.
Mhm.
And that, like, literally she applied once she had a little bit more seniority because
Yeah.
she knew kind of like the work that we have done. So it's like there's also this say in technology that you have to always be hiring, also always be firing. But so you just have to talk about um, the good work that you are doing, and people will notice it, and people will like to work with you. I know some companies struggle with that. We have been very fortunate. I don't have a hiring problem, to be honest.
Yeah.
We usually fill out our positions relatively fast for what the market is,
Uh-huh.
but I think it's because we have, again, good
Um,
network
yeah.
and good people attracting you.
Once you've realized how it is scaling, you also realize something uncomfortable. Every new person changes the system. They shape culture, they affect velocity, they influence trust. At that point, hiring is no longer about filling seats, it becomes a competitive advantage or a silent risk. That's what we explore next. I'm still amazed when you say 400 people or 100 people on the engineering team, right?
Yeah,
But what changes when you move from leading 10 to 20 engineers into leading a team of 100? I suppose that a lot of things, right?
yeah, I was thinking about these questions, and it depends. As this is what everyone will say always.
Yeah.
It will depend on many things. I was just looking back, and there are many many things to consider. Like, you have a budget for hiring, so how much you have in budget for hiring, the stage of the company that you are, among other things. So it's not the same when you are like 11 years now in a market looking for senior engineers than when you were like in a growth phase, startup mode, way more scrappy, and you were more hiring about potential. Yeah, and we are also, I look a lot also to underdogs, people that hasn't been really considered for companies. We also hire people that doesn't have fluent English, but they are good engineers, and that allows us to tap into a market that nobody's really looking into,
Yeah.
or that companies like ours, they don't look into. And we give them English classes, and they grow with us, and eventually they get good at English. So
Yeah.
everyone is looking for growth. We are looking for people to grow with us, and they are looking for companies where they can be growing. So it just changes into what you are looking for. We also hired a lot of interns early on. We haven't hired an intern probably in 2 or 3 years, which isn't something to be proud of, to be honest. It's something I would like to change. But we are focusing right now on speed and seniority to be able to move faster. But that may change now with AI and all these things that
Yes.
we are looking back at that. But it just changes depending on what you are looking, stage, etc.
Yeah. Listen, Mariano, it's really interesting what you're mentioning. And I would like to ask, I mean, thank you for being so open to this. And then the next question is kind of interesting. Like, can you help me with a story, right? Something that with a history, right? Or of a time when you hired someone, right? And the mood of the culture uh, moved either like forward or backwards, right? Like what has been like the breaking points of all these experiences that you got within hiring.
I mean, we have a couple of stories. I have a couple of stories, good stories, bad stories. I don't
Mhm.
have that many bad stories. Recently,
Thank goodness.
we have found some hires have ghosted us, after
Yeah.
being hired.
Really?
They were like unresponsive.
uh
We were thinking they have maybe two jobs, or making up fake stories.
yeah.
Once you ask them, they kind of like quit. So I guess it was like not that bad of a story, because you're looking for people that could be a good fit for you. So
Yeah.
if they are like saying we are not a good fit, it's better to just do that earlier on.
Hmm.
um and we have good hiring studies. I have stories, sorry. I have many of them. One that sticks with me a lot is one of our first engineers. uh, we used to have we used to have like a live coding challenge that they have to be doing, sharing screen.
Yeah.
And she just got very stuck after a couple of hours. And she said, you know what, like, I need to take a pause. It was like 7 p.m. or something. I was hiring
Hmm.
after hours. And she said, I need to take a pause. Can you, let me have dinner? I'll get back to this problem and you will have it tomorrow morning. And I said,
Yeah.
yeah, it's okay.
Oh, right.
And first thing next day, in my email, it was the problem solved. So that for me was like a no-brainer about soft skills and hiring.
Yeah.
So, and also we also have hires from recommendations from these universities relationship that we have built. I
Yeah.
also have one of our fastest promoting or growing engineers in our team. He was handpicked by one of by a professor in the university, and he told me, I
Mhm.
will never forget this. Like, you need to hire this person. If you don't hire him, you will regret it, because
Yeah.
he is very smart and he has been very smart around the whole school career. And I didn't have a position open at that moment.
Yeah.
I have him go through the process. I could see potential. I negotiated back then, and we opened a position for him, and it
Mhm.
has been a great decision. So again, it's always like always hiring, um, always firing.
Yeah.
And I don't take any of the bad decisions by heart. Many of them were just things that happen. Also, with more people comes more problems.
Yeah. Of
So,
course.
it is what it is.
Listening to this story about this girl that asked for like a break or whatever, um, I was wondering that's completely a green flag, don't you think? I mean, like saying, like, you know, time. I mean,
Exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
I totally agree. I think, sometimes people want to look at hiring as, as just something that has to happen within some boundaries.
yeah.
And, we are humans, and there's so many things that could be crossing our minds.
And
There's
and the pressure, right? The pressure of the person who's being assessed is like, oh my god, if I ask for a break or whatever, like because you enter in like a focus mode, but also like you want to comply with the interviewer and whatever, right? But that makes you really nervous, right? So what are some positive signals you look in a candidate? Not just technically, right? But culturally or mentally.
Yeah, we're always looking for curiosity. I keep I don't know. Once I read about this or heard about this thing called the curiosity index,
Yeah.
and it really resonated with me, because in this career or in this industry, It's
Mhm.
all about like new things happening constantly.
Yeah.
And if you are not curious about the new things or about old things, it's not about just looking for the new, but also being curious about how things were done in the past. It will stuck you a lot. So curiosity is a big thing that we are looking for. Good communication, unfortunately, it's not only about the language barrier that you may have when people just doesn't speak good English, but also people doesn't really is not really good at organizing their ideas and being able to communicate them. And
Mhm.
good communication is something we are always looking for. People that actually are, as we could say, like saying things. Sometimes people will just go around and around and
Mhm.
never kind of like take you
Yeah.
to where they want you. So good communication, it's important, and teamwork experience. Since we are a large team, we don't like people that hasn't had that good teamwork experience,
Yeah.
hasn't been working a lot with teams and lasting in jobs where there are team players. It's also like a different skill to be able to collaborate
Yeah.
and negotiating, day on day stuff.
Like
So those are
not being the long rider, right? Long rider.
exactly.
That was the name of the thing, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. You may know because you are older than me now.
what was the name of the
That thing
of the
was in black
number?
and white. I'm sure it was a non rider,
Oh man,
non-rider. Sorry,
it
not
was,
long.
it was black and white.
Yeah.
Okay, Mariana, and what about the flip side? On the flip side, what are some red flags you've learned to detect early in interviews?
Well, definitely, there's, for me, the most important red flag is sometimes people are just lying.
Yeah.
Like if they don't know the answer, they will not say, I don't know. They will say, yes, I know. And you can see
Oh man,
they
that's
don't know.
yeah,
And they are just lying. They are just trying really hard to please you. I don't like, pleasers either. So
yeah.
people that is lying to you or just are
They
trying
got,
to
but
please you.
they're full of it, right? Like you can detect that immediately, right? When they
Yeah, it's better. Like if you don't know something, just say I don't know, but I can look into it. I don't think it's important to know this, or I've never asked this question for myself, or why did I quit that job because I had a horrible boss, or I failed. If you fail, just say you fail, and you learn from the experience. It's not about being perfect; it's just about being honest. So red flags for me is just people lying and just people that they are just pleasing you.
when hunting goes wrong at scale, the damage doesn't show up immediately. It shows up in friction, in misalignment, in teams that stop trusting each other. So the real question becomes what actually breaks engineering teams? And what mistakes should leader never make when scaling? Let's go there. I'm curious about this, right? But growing a team from 0 to 100, adjusting the engineering team, right? I think and I suppose that it has to be a breaking point, right? Like, when were you at sometimes like stuck on the number of hiring, right? Like when you needed to scale, but you couldn't find anyone who suits you, or
Well, the growth point, I wouldn't call them breaking points. I will call them the maybe the milestones.
okay.
Many times are defined by the business.
Hmm.
The business will say, we want to move faster, and you will say we need more people, and then you will be negotiating on how many people.
Yeah.
For example, the last year in the last 12 months we have probably hired around 40 people,
Okay.
which is a lot.
Hmm.
Uh,
Oh my god,
but
I can just imagine the amount of interviews you have to run for
Yeah,
40 people.
probably have that.
What
I haven't
what's
had
the
that
ratio?
many because I am the last
Ah,
person in the chain, but I have
yeah.
seen many resumes, probably 1,000 resumes for that.
Oh my god.
Um,
Yeah.
but interviews probably I have had, I don't know, 60 or something.
Okay.
So the radio is not that bad.
Yeah.
So the milestones will be mandated usually by the business of how many people you will need.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then I definitely think there is a power in, it's easier to hire when you are at 90 than when you are at 5 or at
Cool.
3.
Yeah.
I think it's just like the force of collaboration is just stronger, and
Get it.
also the people that helps you, the processes are even like stronger.
Mm-hmm.
um but I will say, it's just different in terms of, and I guess when you are hiring, when you are just two and you are finding the next two, it's probably tougher that you have to find two and you are trying to look for a perfect two than when you are looking for 40. You're like,
Yeah.
like if if I'm breaking 5x out on this 40, I will call this a win. So you also grow this thicker skin, and I don't know.
Yeah. So if Harding hasn't been a thing that destroys scaling at MedTrainer, what in your experience, what actually destroys an engineering team during periods of growth?
Having a toxic culture, toxic people will destroy you for sure. Bad apples,
Mm,
or bad weed, however you want to call the analogy.
mhm,
Having bad people will really hurt you. Having bad leaders really hurt a lot.
uh-huh,
Not being able to detect when people is not growing, um to the I don't know. We have this say that, like the bar is always going up. So if you are growing with the bar or you are staying below the bar, so
mhm,
we are always looking for people that goes, with the bar, or
whatever.
overcomes it or close to it,
Uh-huh,
right? So, but when people is not catching up with the bar, and you are just like not seeing that, and if these people has a larger impact radius, like a leader, will
mhm,
really hurt you. Things like that will hurt you. Definitely we have made bad hiring mistakes, when the market was also like at its peak,
yeah,
before at the pandemic,
yeah,
salaries were just like really high. And
mhm,
we made a couple of bad decisions in which we were offering higher salaries for people that we knew were on a lower level of experience. And
mhm.
that hurt us because, like, if someone was between that level and they see Darwin making more money, they will say, like, why is he making more money than me? And I know more than him, and things like that. We also
That
made
the famous bubble, right, that we experimented, because it was a bubble.
it
That
was
now that it happened, we can say it, right? Because I don't know if you remember that back in the day, we said, "No, it is not a bubble. It's gonna be like
yeah.
forever or whatever," right? But looking backwards, we can say that it
Yeah,
happened, right?
yeah. The bubble pop. There was a lot of need. All these boot camps were able to place people at really high salaries for entry jobs. It
Yeah.
was just not where the market was, and we also suffer a little bit of that. We have been course
Mhm.
correcting. We probably still have. Um, I think we have finished course correcting that. It took us. It's been almost 5 years,
Yeah.
but it was hard, to be honest. So that also hurts people. Having also brilliant jerks that are very famous. That
Mhm.
you don't want one of those. You want team players. If you are looking to build a team,
I'm
you
laughing
don't want.
because, like, several names came to my mind right now, like, "Oh
Yeah.
my god, yeah, I know though."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you don't want a brilliant jerk in your team. That doesn't scale. You may need one because they are smart, and they will fix you one problem really fast,
but
but that just doesn't scale. That
uh,
just um hurts the team. And also, you know it's I'll say this, but probably sometimes it's easier to work between engineers working with engineers. It's kind of like easy,
mhm,
but engineers have to work with other not engineering roles like product, project, design, and the personalities are kind of different.
yeah,
So if you don't have people that is able to communicate and collaborate with these other roles, that they, you know,
it's
they
really hard.
they don't have these strong programming skills, and you may think you are way smarter because you know programming. It's going to hurt you, and it hurts the culture that when people is not able to collaborate with these other roles.
Yes. So would you say that those are one mistakes that companies have to avoid, like for
Yeah.
sure they will never do that, right?
Yeah. They learn this eventually. Everyone makes these mistakes, and again, having leaders that are bad leaders
Yeah,
really hurts companies.
yeah. So if you could give one piece of advice to a new leader who's hiring like to scale for the first time, what would you tell them to do differently?
Well, um, there is this thing that we use in software that it's just iterate, learn and repeat, learn from your mistakes, or you have to reinvent yourself constantly, is what I want to say.
Yeah,
Someone or a lead, took what got you here will not take you to
there.
where you want to be. So it's just a matter of being able to reinvent yourself, look back, and just, you know, honest hard work works, but smart work as well is needed. So
Yeah,
just do what you will do in a project, postmortem, write down the things that you think you can do better, and just, you know, keep trying and doing better. As long as you learn from your mistakes, you will be growing.
yeah. I recently read that a book that has that title. What took you here won't take you there, something like that.
Yeah.
It was a really good philosophy, right? Mariano, this is amazing. This was amazing. We are done for today. Thank you for sharing your experience so openly, bro. It is a pleasure to see you live because we read each other every day, right? And hiring and scaling engineering teams is one of the hardest things to get right. I really appreciate that you've been here, and your perspective is exactly what many leaders need to hear. I really appreciate your time.
It was nice being here with you, Darwin. It was great chat. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Thank you for being here. Bye bye.
All right.
So, scaling isn't about adding more people, it's about making better decisions as the number of people grows. Hiring is not a pipeline problem, it's a leadership problem, a cultural problem, a clarity problem. And the companies that scale well aren't the ones that hire the fastest. They're the ones that hire intentionally. If there's one takeaway from today's episode, it's this: you don't scale through headcount, you scale through trust, alignment, and the people you choose to build with. This was the Scaling Dilemma, the hardest part of scaling, hiring. Thanks for watching.